Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Hope you all are having a good day. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to prepare if you are broke and alone. The reason I'm talking about that is because I've had since I've been doing this a couple of years, I guess, occasionally I'll get questions from people that say that they have nothing. They have no people. They have no money. And to be honest, a lot of times they're kind of whiny, and sometimes they're just downright insulting me and other people. And they'll say things like, after I've talked about, whatever it might be, stocking food, investing, things like that, they'll come on with a comment like, well, not everybody has all the money in the world. As if I do, right? Or as if anybody else here does. Or they will lay out the reasons that they are broke and alone. I learned a long time ago that 90% of the people who come up with these kinds of complaints do so simply as a way to excuse the behavior that has put them in the position they're complaining about. They have no desire to change. I know that because I've tried to help people, as probably some of you have. I've given advice many times, only to have it thrown back in my face that I don't understand, that it's not as easy for them as it is for me, blah, 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 blah. I have about that much patience with complainers. Unless you are in a wheelchair on the moon, you have no reason to make excuses. I want to tell you a story. There was a little black man. I say he was black because he was, and it meets into the story. There was this little black man back in the 50s. I was born in the early 50s. And in Kansas City, a lot of my family worked downtown, so I had occasion to go downtown. I told this story on the one that I'm going to tell you about that's over on Patreon. He was 2 or 3 feet tall. I don't know. And his feet were on backwards. I don't know why, some kind of birth defect, right? So here we have this little 2 or 3 foot tall black man with his feet on backwards. He had huge feet, by the way. Feet on backwards. Trying to make his way in the world. And he was always at the corner of 12th and something or other. I forget. It might have been Walnut. Doesn't matter. It was out in front of a cat store where my aunt worked. And he would sell newspapers. See right there. He didn't hold a sign, a cardboard sign, saying, anything will help, God bless. And back then, there weren't all these food kitchens that people live out of now. But he found himself a job selling newspapers. And by about 5:30 in the morning, he would be on his corner selling newspapers. And how did he get around? He had a little skateboard that he had made. I don't remember the guy's name if I ever knew it. And it wasn't like a skateboard like we think of now. It was just kind of a square with some wheels on the bottom. I don't know where he got the wheels, probably out of the trash somewhere. And that's how he got around town. And he would just push himself with the palms of his hands. He must have had, half-inch thick calluses. Push himself around. So in the early morning, when the newspapers came out, about 3 o'clock in the morning, he would go down and pick up a load of newspapers. And he'd make his way back to 12th and Walnut or whatever that street was. And he'd be out there when people started coming to work. And he'd be selling the Kansas City Times, which was at the time the morning paper. And he'd sell that, and when it was sold out, he'd go take a nap, I guess. I don't know. And in the afternoon, he'd make his way back to the Kansas City Star printing area, which was about I don't know, probably 10, 12 blocks away. Pick up more papers. He'd come back at about 2:30 in the afternoon to start selling. The afternoon paper was the Kansas City Star. He was down there for years. He sold those papers. He'd say hi to everybody. Everybody'd say hi to him. People got used to it. They bought their papers from him. He supported himself. And this was in the 1950s in Kansas City. So that's where the black comes in. Okay. Do you think you have it harder than a 3-foot-tall black man with his feet on backwards in Kansas City in 1956? You don't. Probably. I mean, if you're able to watch this, right? People hold themselves back with excuses. I'll tell you another thing, that when I ran my gym, and people say, well, you don't know. You've got it made. You don't know what. I tell a story on the one I'm going to direct you to over at Patreon, where I tell you about how I know. I tell you, I know exactly what the problem is and how to get out of it. When I owned my gym, people would come in. Usually this had to do with women, because the guys were more, guys that didn't come in, at least at that time, concerned about their weight. They just wanted to lift weights and get muscular, right? But a lot of women would come into the aerobics, wanting to sign up for aerobics, and complain about how they couldn't get rid of their fat. They would call it weight, but that's bull, because weight doesn't mean anything. It's fat. You want to lose fat. You don't want to lose weight. I wrote a whole book on it. Maybe someday I'll put it up there and sell it. And they would come in and they would see my instructors, who were unbelievably fit. I mean, just unbelievable. And they would see the people who had been in my program for a long time that I had designed. And they would see how unbelievably fit they were. And they would come in, 30, 50, 80 pounds over fat. And when I start telling them what it would take for them to change, they would immediately resist it. Immediately. And their excuses were all, well, not everybody can blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, it's not as easy for some of us as blah, blah, blah. See, immediately diminishing the efforts of those who had achieved the goals they said they wanted. And when I continue to try to talk to them about here's what to do, and I tell you, I do it simple. Eat less, exercise more. How about that? Takes a genius, doesn't it? But they would have read every diet book in the world, especially the ones that were telling them it wasn't their fault. Because, see, a good percentage of our world, as you well know, would rather be a victim than do what it takes to be a success. So, I have, for those people who want to know how to prepare if they are broke and alone, I've put it over on Patreon. Why? Why am I not putting everything out right here? When I got done taping that one, Kelly walked through the room and says, wow, you sure told them everything. You've helped a lot of people with that. I said, no, I haven't. Because there's not more than a few will go over there, because I'm not putting that on YouTube. Because most of the people who have come on this channel and said, well, I don't know how you can, or how can you do it if you're all alone, or if you're broke, or all that, they won't listen to the advice that I give, which will solve the problem. It will. You just do what I say, your life will change. But most of them won't do it anyway. So I have absolutely no interest in investing my time answering questions in detail to people who won't invest $1 in themselves. Now, people will say, well, you're just after the money. I couldn't care less about your dollar. Your dollar means nothing. But apparently you are worth less than $1 to yourself. And I won't help people who don't think that they are worth anything. You know why? Because they can't be helped. They can't be helped. The other flip side of that is that some people think they're not worth it. Others think that they know all the answers. They're too good to take advice. They're too good to change their lives. They're too good to admit to themselves that the way they've been doing it is bringing the failing results they're experiencing. So they won't listen. Because after all, they're smarter than anyone else. And not everybody has $1 million. And not everybody has everything. And not everybody, and it's harder for some than for others. Good, then work harder. So, for anybody here, and I don't expect, I'll tell you right now, because I have a long experience, I have a lot of experience, that didn't make any sense. I have so much experience in trying to help people who would not listen. I don't expect that I'll have more than 1 or 2 people come over there and pay $1, invest in themselves, $1 that's worth $1 million to you, not just in your finances and not being alone, but in your life. Most people won't, because most just want to complain. They found something that makes them comfortable. They identify according to their victimhood. And you can't change them. And rarely can you advise them because they won't take it. So that's why I'm doing this. But I'm putting this up here just to let anybody know that if you're really interested in how you can do it if you're broken alone, first off, I tell you over there how not to be broken alone. If you want that, go get it. Cost you $1. If you think you're worth $1, go get it. I don't care. Trust me, your $1 doesn't make any difference to me. But I'm also going to say this. A couple of things. I am never again going to address this question. Because for the most part, it's not a legitimate question. It's just an excuse for these people, an opportunity for them to whine to the world about how they have been victimized by life and everybody else in it. Okay? And I'll say something else. I'm going to be watching the comments. And as soon as I see a comment start to go in the direction of a complaint or a "you think you're so good" or anything like that, I'm deleting it. I'm deleting it. You see, you carry, for those of you, that kind of person carries with them a negativity that wants to be continually fed and attack those who recognize it for what it is. And I won't have it. Not here. So the minute that I see any, and the rest of you all feel free to hey, comment all you want. Tell your stories about people who won't be helped, people you've tried to help, people who want to just whine and complain. So that other people can see it. I'll interject something here before I bring this to a close. For those few of you, for any of you out there who sincerely want a change in life, to make your life what you claim to want it to be, I wish you the very best. I want it to change for you. God didn't make you to go through this life a victim, especially victimized by yourself, making yourself believe that it was others doing it. He didn't do it. Listen to me on Patreon. I hope that it helps. I pray to God it helps. I pray that you will have a wonderful life from this moment forward. I hope that your life is full of happiness and joy and fulfillment and friends and everything. But for those of you who want to complain, I got nothing for you. So don't make any, because like I said, I see one negative comment, it's gone, because I will not invest a moment of my time into even reading the comment of someone who won't invest $1 in themselves. And like I say, it's not about the dollar. It's their willingness to try to learn and change. That's the foundation of preparedness. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that any of you with that question will come over there and learn. I tell a little bit about my story. I tell you why I understand where you are. And I tell you how to change it. So, till then, remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And the first thing that we prepare is ourself. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.